Okay, I gotta be honest with you guys. Hunter x Hunter Chapter 409. I am racking my brain trying to figure out how Borksen cheated because she did cheat. Like she did. Like I feel like that part is obvious. She did cheat. I'm just not exactly sure what the ultimate intention is here, and maybe we're not meant to know what the intention is. But it's driving me crazy. I was sitting here for like a half an hour trying to figure it out before I recorded this video, so I would have some kind of interesting theory for you guys, but I really don't. The only thing I came up with is Borksen did cheat, but how and why did she cheat is driving me kind of crazy. All right, so Hunter x Hunter Chapter 409, we get the conclusion of the card game between Borksen and Morena, and I'm going to try to go in order here. There's a number of interesting things that happen in this chapter, more information that is given to us, but I think let's just start from the beginning, and I'll get into the whole cheating thing as time goes on. But at the very start, we get the continuation of the announcement that martial law has taken place. And there are several interesting little bits of information about that because each tier has to deal with it in a different way. And I think that's really unique because to me, it seems like with what's being spoken here is that tier 3 is where the drama went down. And if I remember correctly, that's where the Hulkenberg funeral stuff was happening as well, because it says tier 5, just follow order from military bosses, yada yada. The upper tiers are not going to affect tier 5. It says tier 4, they're closing the passageways. So that would mean to me that they don't want anybody from tier 3 to escape into tier 4. So it's like, safety measures are in place, yada, yada. We're not going to affect tier 4. So it seems like that might be the case there. And then specifically on tier 3, it says to just face the nearest wall and take a knee. Place both hands on the wall and stand by. So it seems like everybody on tier 3 is now currently a suspect for something that went down. And I can imagine it has something to do with the Hulkenberg funeral. For tier 2, it says to head to their rooms and don't hold anything in your hands, which is another really interesting bit of information. Like, what the hell does that mean? Could it mean that something was stolen? Like perhaps an artifact, like maybe it has something to do with Krollo? I don't know. And basically says, sit in a chair, place both hands on a table, keep them raised above your shoulders. So they are looking for something, they're investigating something, and they're trying to stop someone or something from going any further. That's kind of what I'm gathering from the martial law. It's that everyone is a suspect right now. Maybe the idea, Hulkenberg being able to switch bodies, maybe anybody because of a body switch kind of idea could be a suspect, and they're looking for them. So a lot of unique things could happen with this. As well, Borksen's a little bit confused about why they're hearing all this information because the announcement would be limited to the tier that the person is in. So trying to figure out where this hideout is and where they are, if they're hearing the announcement for every single tier, it doesn't really make sense. Later on in the chapter, she does have the ability to ask Morena where they are. And I'll just skip ahead a little bit just to talk about that. But it was, where was it? Yeah. So supposedly they are in a section that's right in between tier 2 and tier 3. But she also asked Morena if this is a hideout created by using a Nen ability, to which Morena says yes and no. So when they started this card game a few chapters ago, I thought one of the most standout things that Morena said was that you have to answer yes or no and she won't cheat, but the way that you answer yes or no is kind of your personal intentions about how you interpret that question. Essentially, the way that you answer a question is based upon your interpretation, and that's why I think the ending of this chapter is significant, and I'm just racking my brain trying to figure it out. So when she says, is this location the result of a Nen ability, and she says yes and no, it seems to make sense, and it seems to line up with the exact location that Nobunaga and Hinrai were at before. This tiny little panel matches the walls that we saw there before, and there was the moment where Nobunaga tried to slice his way in and discovered it was protected by Nen. Then it showed a close-up panel of Morena smiling as if she could sense this, so perhaps where she is right now specifically can only be accessed by Nen, but it is a real location nonetheless, thus why she answered yes and no. So Borksen at this point, she has a good idea where she is. She has a good idea what's going on with the martial law, not the specifics of it, but she knows by being involved with being a guard for Serenich and everything, and growing up in the Kakin Empire, she knows kind of the structure of what they would be doing. And then she finds out way more information about Morena, particularly her conditions for activating her ability. As I suspected, the card game is part of the condition, so that's one of the few things that I've actually called right this entire time. The negotiation game must end with a yes. She infects them with a kiss. And the third one, you must be present where either her or one of her team members commits a murder. Now, that's a very integral part of all this, because that's the only condition that is not met by the end of this chapter. So yes, Morena does end up kissing Borksen, and it is an extremely awkward and hilarious moment. And, Togashi keeps putting in these little moments where he keeps making Morena adorable, which, considering her backstory, is such this bizarre but amazing juxtaposition that she went through all of this, horrible tragedy, and she's also planning the genocide of an entire nation and maybe the world, but she's also super cute and bashful. Just one of those kind of character quirks that he's very good at. She also assumes that neither is confirmed or denied that this is Borksen's first kiss, but this is the only moment in the chapter besides the finale that Borksen gets a little bit emotional and a little bit exaggeratory, what are you talking about? That sort of thing. So interesting that she would get so defensive, which makes me believe maybe it actually was. But hey, if Morena was my first kiss, I wouldn't be complaining, although it's not exactly the most consensual situation, but regardless. Now, here's the part that I'm trying to piece together. So it seems likely to me that Borksen somehow is manipulating the end of this game on Morena, which is really creative to do from a character that's, basically newly introduced. I know we saw her in a few chapters, 8 or 9 chapters ago, but as far as this conversation, this is the first time we're really getting to know Borksen. And when she began the game, she specifically asked Morena if Morena was able to cheat in the game, to which Morena says she's not able to cheat. The only thing to keep note of is the way that you answer questions is based upon how you interpret them. But I don't believe that Borksen ever asked if she herself could cheat or not. And that may be the loophole that leads us to our finale here. Because there's this moment where Borksen requests to look at the 2 cards that are on the table, even though she knows what they would be. But Morena is saying, are you accusing me of cheating again? She's like, I just wanted to check. I took my eyes off of them, yada, yada, that sort of thing. And she picks both of them up. I mean, she touches both cards. I don't know how she would actually mark one of them if she wasn't. I don't know. The panels can always be so confusing, because there's one here, she has her right hand kind of underneath the table. Is she doing something to her hand so that she can mark the card? I don't know, man. But she shows that they have the no and the return card. And then they're shuffled after that. So I don't know. I don't know if it has something to do with the hand that she chooses the card from, but the only thing I can consider is that she is specifically manipulating the game in a way that she knows what the last card she's going to be drawn is going to be. And that would have made sense from the very beginning in order for her to get out of this situation, for her to be able to leave the game and then not be bothered, as that was one of the options. But what she eventually chooses at the end of this chapter is the really intriguing part. Now, she also gets to ask Morena a few other questions before her final choice. She confirms that right now there are 21 members out of a potential 23. Sorry, I'm going to re-record this part because I think the way that I described it when I was on camera just didn't make a ton of sense. But basically, from what I understand, Morena is able to infect 22 people with her ability. And Borksen asks how many there are, including her. So if there are 21 people, including her, that means she's only infected 20 people so far, which means she has 2 left. One would be Borksen, and then you would have room for one more final member, bringing the total number of people up to 23. Morena also doesn't know what all of their nan abilities are, so that's another little aspect in there that would probably become pretty important moving forward, that she doesn't know exactly what everybody can do until she finds out. And Borksen also asks her a couple of times if she's willing to change her goal, at least slightly, in order for Borksen to help her in a different way. Maybe help her from the inside, being, associated with the Kakin Empire in a way that Morena is not. If there's any kind of way that we could take down the Empire or change the Empire in a way that doesn't result in complete genocide. And Morena continuously says no. Again, I gotta imagine there's something deeper going on here with the way that they're answering and asking the questions. I'm just not quite smart enough to figure it out. It seems like every time that she asks, Morena specifically says, no, I will not change my goal. Is there a double negative in there somewhere? Is there a loophole? I don't feel like there is, but there's got to be something. There's got to be some reason that she's asking her as many times as she is. And it's right after she asks that she gets the final choice of her own cards, in which, of course, she pulls the return card, which I got to imagine that she marked in some way to know that she was getting the return card, which gives her the option of getting out of this situation. But instead of doing that, she pulls the yes card. And again, it's the way that this is asked. Morena's like, isn't that a mistake? Is not that a mistake? And BORKSEN says, no, it's not a mistake. Is there a way that you could interpret that in a way that would mean BORKSEN is actually meaning it is a mistake, and yet it's still going to function properly if Morena believes that it's not a mistake? Therefore, in BORKSEN's mind, she's not officially going to join the High but in Morena's mind, she is. But then, does that actually work? Because they need to have the same goal. But if they do have the same goal, but it's accomplishing it in a different way, if it's taking down the Kakin Empire but slightly different, does that actually work as a similar goal, even though they have different ways of trying to reach that goal? Could BORKSEN have actually manipulated her way into the High without officially, being a High member? I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of it, because this would allow BORKSEN the chance to awaken her Nen and develop a Nen ability, which could be very helpful either way. There's still one more condition to meet. She has to witness a murder. So that's kind of crazy to think about. But at the same time, with as many High members as there are out there, it's likely that that will happen. And also, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure that Finks and Phaeton are on their way here. So that would be crazy if that was the murder that she witnessed. So I'm not sure how she did it. I think she found the loophole in the sense that if Morena couldn't cheat, it doesn't mean that she couldn't cheat. I think she found a way to mark the card in order to pick this yes card, but I gotta believe that she answered this in a way where it could work for both of their benefits. I'm just trying to figure it out. Is that a mistake? No, it's not a mistake. No. Is that a mistake? No, it's not a mistake. I don't know. I don't know how that works. There's something there. Maybe it has to do with the translation as well from the Japanese to English. I don't know the way it's worded, but there's got to be something there to where BORKSEN has manipulated this entire game in her benefit. And she's going to allow herself to get access to Nen and awaken her ability without having to completely agree with Morena's goals. Somehow she did it. I just don't know how it actually works. Anyways, guys, tell me what you think. I'm probably completely out of my mind and just talking out of my ass. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of this chapter. I'm doing my best out here in the world of manga reviews, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Leave all your thoughts and theories down below. Explain exactly how BORKSEN manipulated this game, because I know that she did. I just can't put it all together. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I know we're going to get at least one more chapter after that. It's a little bit ambiguous. I know that Togachi's working on more chapters, but usually they release 10 at a time. That has been the case over the past couple of years, but who knows if things have changed. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.